I always enjoy looking into the history of the birds I film. It can go back a couple of hundred years. You meet a lot of interesting characters. These people are about to be lost to many of us because of the upcoming spate of bird name changes. Some had birds named for them. Some were just the first scientists to describe the birds we all know today. Let's start with a black-chinned hummingbird. This is a female. Several of our western hummers were actually first described from Mexico. French ornithologists Jules Boursier and Etienne Moulsant were given a specimen of the black-chin by a Dr. Alexandre during the time when the French were taking an active interest in Mexico. A French army actually invaded in 1862 and ruled for 5 years before being thrown out. But before that war and the battle celebrated on Cinco de Mayo, European ornithologists were all over Mexico, finding beautiful new birds. When back in France, Moulsant published A Natural History of the Hummingbirds, where he described the male black-chin, adorned on the throat and neck with black scaly feathers. Along the posterior edge of this are larger feathers with a metallic purple appearance, sparkling on certain days. Sparkling on certain days aptly describes the experience of modern birders, many of whom know the black-chin but have never seen the metallic band below the chin, here glowing lilac. Another hummingbird first found by science in Mexico is the broad-billed. This species was first collected by someone you may know, William Bullock. He currently has an oriole named for him. It's unclear if Mr. Bullock or his son, also William Bullock, actually obtained the bird. Bullock Sr. traveled the world as a businessman and as a naturalist. He was one of the first to extol the wonders of Niagara Falls. Bullock and Bullock lived in Mexico for a time, managing a silver mine and collecting natural history specimens. In 1824, the elder Bullock wrote 6 Months' Residence and Travels in Mexico, which has a chapter on hummingbirds. Here, Bullock explained that hummingbirds ate insects, not just nectar, and described their iridescent colors as coming from the structure of the feathers, not from pigments. He also claimed that hummingbirds could hover in place for hours and that some slept hanging upside down from a branch. No one's perfect. Bullock actually handed over his broadbill to William Swainson to do the scientific description, which Swainson did in 32 words. Not a lot of ink for such a gorgeous creature. We have illustrations of broad-billed hummingbirds from the 19th century. One was from the English naturalist John Gould, who began painting hummingbirds in 1861. He drew from preserved specimens. He never saw a hummingbird actually fly until 18 years after starting his project, when he visited the United States. Perhaps that's why his flying hummingbirds look like little airplanes. Etienne Moulsant, whom we have already met, did this one. He seems to have missed the red bill. These two are indeed the same species. Which painting do you prefer? Vermilion flycatchers have been known to science since before 1787. This male was collected by a French expedition to the Amazon. They range as far north as the U.S., mostly in Arizona and Texas. They are never found far from water, even if it's just a cattle watering tank. Here's the female. But their favorite habitat is a desert stream with tall trees and abundant flying insects. This is the San Pedro River in Arizona, a perfect spot for them. There are plenty of gnats. The female is not brightly colored, but when they are together, she makes a nice counterstatement to his flamboyant red. They sally forth from an exposed branch to catch flying insects. They like the big ones, grasshoppers and butterflies. But when the gnats are plentiful, as they are here today, they will do just as well. For the videographer, knowing the birds will return to the same perch over and over makes for a nice session with them. Vermilion flycatchers are slowly moving north with climate change. Strangely, they are deserting their old stronghold in west central Texas. The area corresponds to where oil companies are active, and it is thought that the surface water may be drying up. If you enjoy stories like those here, read the description section below the video. You can find historic material and beautiful full-color illustrations of thousands of birds and other creatures online, all free. In the past, one had to be a skilled researcher to find these, or to be wealthy to own them. Now, they're there for us all. Check it out.